Yo, Taurus. What's up, guys? I'm Chris. Welcome to your reading for the full moon in Gemini. So, as I was pre shuffling here, this guy popped out, right? So, I decided to stick with him, the Emperor. And we're going to talk about this guy, right? Because I feel like this is actually a really good and interesting indication of where Taurus is going to be for this full moon, right? So, we got the full moon in Gemini. And then we also have Mercury retrograde on the same day that the moon goes full in Gemini. And for you guys, Gemini is in your second house of like possessions and material goods. So first of all, like just be careful about your money, right? Like make sure your rent is paid on time. Make sure your bills are paid on time. Make sure like if someone owes you money, they're getting it to you because like with the planet of communication and movement, like moving backwards in your house of money, like there could be things that go wrong. There could be mishaps. So first and foremost, Taurus, I know how much you care about your money and like your coins and like getting it right. So like pay attention to that, right? But Gemini, the full moon in Gemini, we're also talking about like connections. And that's what I want to talk about with the Emperor, right? Like we're talking about your network, Taurus. We're talking about where you have boundaries, right? Because Gemini, part of the struggle is with boundaries, right? Like I'm a Gemini, we're such like this like free love sign that like we have a hard time with boundaries, and you guys are like pretty good with your boundaries, right? So like this is gonna kind of test that, right? Where do you draw the boundaries? Where is someone being too much for you, or where is it like you're like pushing them away, right? Ten of Cups, beautiful. But what I want to say about this Emperor here, guys, is like last time we talked about like using people to kind of heal you, right? To like support you and move on. But like right now with the Emperor, like the Emperor is Aries. Aries is like the sign of individualism in the zodiac, right? And what we're talking about here, when I was just saying about boundaries and stuff, like I actually think this is like prime time for Taurus to kind of be on your own a little bit, right? Like the Emperor is like empowered. He's like the boss, right? And I know Taurus like really wants to be the boss, right? And so it's kind of like a good time with this energy, right? With not only this full moon in Gemini with all this like connection and like socializing, but like with the Mercury retrograde, it's kind of pulling back on that energy, right? So like where it might make you a little restless, Taurus, because like Mercury's a very restless sign. Tower and the Empress. Where Mercury's a very restless sign, like this is a good time for you guys to like pull back, like invest in where it's necessary. If like invest in the relationships that are paying off, not just your relationships like with people, but like with your job, with like things like that, like how you relate to things. Last one here as a base is the sun. All right, so I'm gonna stop talking and look at these cards because this is a lot going on here, right? So we start off with the Emperor, right? And then we got the Ten of Cups, the Tower, the Empress, you guys, and the Sun, right? So interesting, I want to just draw this connection here, right? I said from the beginning, like, this is not about Taurus. This is about Taurus being focusing on themselves, right? And then what do you get in the basis? You get the counterpart to the Emperor. You get the Empress, right? Like, not just a card of being the Emperor's counterpart, but she's about love. She's the Taurus card. She's ruled by Venus. Love and like nurturing and maternal instincts and like that really caring energy, right? Like balance with this. The Emperor is kind of like ruthless and he's kind of like just the conqueror and he's gonna like run shit, right? So on the one hand, Taurus, what I want to say here is like a balance, right? When I talk about boundaries, it's not about building walls. It's about like defining your space, right? So it's not about closing yourself off so much as it's about like learning where the boundaries are for when you like feel powerful and when like you kind of feel like maybe you're giving too much of yourself, right? Because here we have the Ten of Cups at the bottom, at the basis, right? Ten of Cups and the Sun, right? I'm gonna pretend I don't see that tower for just a second. I mean, like, so starting off for reading, talking about individualism, and then you have the card of like family and happiness and like like completeness in relationships. in like that domestic feeling of like love and satisfaction. So it's almost like saying, Taurus, like it's okay to be on your own or like closed off a little bit right now, because like in a lot of ways I feel like this is Taurus's endgame, right? The 10 of Cups, that like that family, that domestic life, that like thing that makes you really happy, like what the Emperor, when he's done being a boss all day, being like the king of the fucking jungle, or like the head bull in charge, like what he comes home to, right? And with the Tower, so the Tower is all about things like coming apart, right? It's about like structures that we thought we had, like kind of crumbling around us. So again, Taurus, I'm going to echo what I said before about being careful with your money, right? Like you could find yourself financially, like by the end of this year, in like a sticky situation where maybe you have to rethink things, right? Like maybe you've been so focused on this grind, and then like something in that department goes wrong, and like you don't know where to go with yourself because like the emotional nurturing part of like your life has been a little neglected, right? So that's what I'm going to say, is be careful about this, but I think this is also like a radical shift in perspective. I think that when Taurus feels empowered, and we know this about your sign, when you guys feel good about your money, when you feel good about your career, when all the material things are good, then it's like, okay, now I can maybe give this attention. Maybe now I can give this attention, right? Like, oh, happiness, I can think about that now. Like the things that are going to make me feel loved and fulfilled, like I can think about that. Holy shite, I've been in this mode for so long, Taurus, like hustling, that like I kind of forgot about this stuff. So to me right now, the Tower is sort of like an indication of like almost a crack in the wall. It's getting to me, like this could be like with the Tower, it's all about like information and like flashes and revelations that like kind of like these lightning bolts of energy that kind of turn your world upside down. So twofold, I'm going to say, since we were starting with the Emperor, this could be again like something to do with your job, with your finances, with your living situation, coming to like a not so pleasant end in a way, or at least like knowing that something is going like not great, like the way you planned it, but also like this stuff turning your world upside down, right? Like it's flanked by all these cards of like happiness and joy and love. But like, look, it's almost like right now the way I'm holding, it's almost like kind of covered up, and like maybe what you'll see in the next few weeks, Taurus, is even though you're here, like maybe getting closer to this, like even if it's not like a physical counterpart, like a new person you're dating, or a husband or wife or something, like your counterpart, like coming to life, like the emotional part of you, like kind of being able to come out a little bit, because like you're feeling here, you're feeling good. Like this is not the outcome card, but I see this as like something that comes later, right? Like this is what you're working towards. This is what Taurus is building towards, right? So like by the end of the month, into the end of the year, like the start of the new year, I think that this is going to see you guys feeling here. So I could almost see like early next year, guys, like this wall kind of coming down, and like you being open to like the 10 of Cups emotional fulfillment, and the Empress, like this is like family, like family, right? Mommy and daddy and the kids are playing, like this is family. This is like, because Taurus is like really good about the domestic stuff, right? Like you want a house, you want security. That's partly why Taurus like hustles so hard, right? Because you have people to provide for, because you want to build a happy home, because you want to build a place of love, right? And like real genuine partnership, like a real supporting like solid relationship. And like you got, it's almost like you have the eye on the prize, right? It's just like this stuff is like not there yet, right? But this is okay. I think this is where Taurus needs to be. I think like while you, it is a good time with, like I said, the Mercury retrograde and the full moon in Gemini to like get serious about like your career and like your material world and like who you are in whatever you do, like the status of your position, right? Like the Emperor is like a lot about position, like status in life. I'm just going to take three. Normally I pull two outcome cards, but we got three, and look at this, guys. Like, look at this. I'm just going to read them all together, right? Like, forget about the paths like I usually do. Like, we have the Ten of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what was I just saying about the balance here, right? And then the two tens, like, the polar dynamics of each other. I mean, opposites, like earth and water, like the material and the emotional. Like here we're seeing balance, right? Like these both showed up very positively because like here he came out with the King of Pentacles, right? Like this is almost to me an extension of the Emperor, like the manifester, the guy who's creating, the guy who's making the material world. Like the Emperor is almost like the status, like where you climb up the ladder because he's kind of like the ruler of the kings, right? So it's a step up, but like what I'm seeing here, Taurus, like Three of Pentacles is about work. It's about like showing yourself through your work. It's about like those creature comforts that you're working towards. So what did I say right now about like how work is probably the right place to put your energy? Like don't forget this. That's what you need to, that's like, I feel like if there's like a Taurus struggle, part of it is like this, right? Because you're ruled by Venus, and Venus is the planet of love, but it's also the planet of money. So this push pull dynamic between like love and money and happiness and like domestic, like home, mundane things and like emotional things, like this push and pull, I think, is a very like Taurian, when you're talking about your goals and aspirations in life. Like this is like, I feel like a constant struggle for you guys. How much of your energy do you put into this? I mean, like, I think when it comes to these two things, like with Taurus, this is always going to rule out, right? Because ultimately, like, what you got going on underneath there is the King of Pentacles, is the dude who's like all about that guap, all about like building structures, building a life, right? In a real, tangible way. But again, we have the Tower here, right? In between all this like lovey-dovey stuff, like this happy feelings, like, and we'll look at the cards later, but we have the Tower. This is an upset to like your way of being. And it doesn't have to be super negative. Like, look at the way all the other cards come out. Like these are very positive like associations here, Taurus. Right? So like even though this might shake up your world, I don't think it's gonna like be the end of you. I don't think this is like you have a career dream and it's like shatters in front of you. Like that's not what's gonna happen here. But it is gonna like turn things upside down. Like you're going to find yourself in the new year, I want to say, like kind of living your life in a way that you didn't expect to be, is what I'll say. Right? Like it's almost like you were so consumed with being the emperor, you didn't see the empress coming your way. And this could be a person, but this could also just be like what I'm talking about with like the way you live, right? Like your lifestyle, like what you pay attention to, what you give your energy to. You might find yourself like more into like being happy and like trying to have fun times. If this isn't like an actual relationship, you know? Bottom of the deck, like Four of Wands. Like I love this card. This is just a card of like peace and success and like the sort of rest period after work, after struggle, after trial. So I want to say, Taurus, like, your work is not done by any means, but I almost want to say, like, chill the fuck out a little bit. Like, you're gonna be good. You're on the right path. Like, things are it almost is like your work is already setting itself in motion, right? So, like, when you ride a bike and you can kind of like take a break and just let like the motion you built up like kind of let you just coast. Like, it's okay, Taurus, to coast a little bit, right? Like, I know you guys are like crazy work people, and like you can't step away from this for very long, like that Three of Pentacles working, but find the moments. That's what I want to say, like, in this time where you're like find the moments where like you can let this part of you like take hold a little bit, right? Like, there are gonna be breaks. There are gonna be like the Ten of Pentacles, he's built shit, but like look at what he's doing, he's resting. There's gonna be points where you can like just chill a little bit, where you can have a little fun, where you could like go out. I mean, it's wintertime, like you can't go out in the sun, but like where you can like enjoy, like rest on your laurels a little bit. A little bit, right? Like, I'm not saying to like stop the hustle. You can't quit the hustle. You can't make a player quit the game, you know what I'm saying? But but um but Taurus, like, there are going to be opportunities where you can just like chill. Like, even if it's a mini vacation, like a mini getaway or something like that, like a weekend off. Like, you take a third day, a 3-day weekend randomly in like January. It's probably hard to take time off work right now, but like, you know what I'm saying? Taurus. Like, I almost feel like I don't need to draw more outcome cards because of what came up here already, but I'm gonna grab like one or two more, right? Like, I don't feel like the whole story's been told here. I feel like we know where we're getting at, right? Like, this isn't as inward either as I was expecting for Taurus. I thought this was going to be a period of like reflection and like thinking a lot, but like from these cards here, it's like slow and steady work. You know what I mean? Like, it's working still. It's not like that deep. Like, I think it's gonna happen. So like right now, it's just time to work. Ooh, ho, okay. So, Nine of Swords, kind of on top of this, top of the Three of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles reversed. I don't normally read reverse, but I'm starting to just like pay attention to them when they do come up this way, right? I mean, Taurus. Worry. Like, are you worried about your money? Are you worried about your career? Are you worried about like Four of Pentacles, normally it's such a good card of like stability, strong foundations, like feeling solid. But coming up this way, even if this wasn't reversed, guys, like if it was upright with these cards, like there's a lot of insecurity here, Taurus. A lot of worry about your money, about your career. Like, these are next to each other. There's anxiety. Like, why can't you see this? So I want to say, like, part of me wants to say, like, a lot of you guys have maybe come from difficult financial past. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason these cards together right now are making me feel like a lot of this worry and grief is maybe like not having had much of this stability. Right? Like this has kind of eluded you. Like, maybe there was a lot of financial struggle, and that's partly where like all this comes from. Right? And look, we have Mercury and Taurus for the Five of Pentacles, where we're dealing with loss. Where we're dealing with like grief over money and partnerships. I want to say, Taurus, be careful about like working relationships, right? Like when we're talking about this tower energy also being present, like be careful who you're working with, right? Like if there's someone who like doesn't sit right with you or gives you like red flags about working with them, like pay attention to that, because that's what I'm getting here, right? And like the potential for like that to throw this into whack, out of whack. This Four of Pentacles energy, like this solid energy, like brought into like this weird place of confusion and like struggle when you shouldn't be, when you should be like killing the game. But Taurus, like, I do want to say a little bit of this is in your own head, right? Which is okay, right? Like sometimes insecurities like fuel us to go forward, right? Sometimes like the things that scare us, that keep us up at night, are the things that motivate us the most, right? So it's okay to feel this, but like you can't exist here. Like you can't. Like these energies are devastating. They're consuming. They're like so fucking toxic. And it's not cute like Britney either. Like it's I was gonna say something like really shady, but I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, it's like tragic. So tragic. I was gonna say something about Christina Aguilera. Like I don't have a problem with her, but you know, like not Britney. Anyway, Taurus. Bottom of the deck, the moon. Like, can we talk about like the fears? Can we talk about like all those like nasty little like insecurities lurking in your subconscious? All the like things that like keep you up at night, like your nightmares, in a literal sense, but like figuratively, like what you're scared of, right? Hey, right underneath Seven of Pentacles, like work paying off. Like, can we talk about anxiety about like whether what you're doing or not is going to pay off? If it's going to get you out of this place or not? Like, Six of Cups. Like, what did I say first of all about the past? Like things from your past, like maybe feeling without. But like, this is emotional, right? So it's almost as if like the past kind of needs some healing, which is good for retrograde, right? Like Mercury retrograde kind of like brings things back into our realm of being, right? So it could be a good time, Taurus, to heal, right? Maybe that's why this work is so important, right? Like maybe there's some hurt in the past that like maybe you're not ready for this. Maybe you're not ready for this because like you're still like not there emotionally. So like it's good to just like wait and wait for your work to pay off and take your time, right? Taurus. Like I need to tell Taurus to take their fucking time. Like what would we get if a Taurus like took any more time than you guys already take? Oh man. But like it's respectable, right? Cuz like you get here with the King of Pentacles. Like it's slow and steady, like almost so slow you don't even see it happening, but one day like you're manifesting like a motherfucker. One day like the life of your dreams is like right there before you. Your career of your dreams is right in front of your face. Like the Three of Pentacles is like the card of like kind of visible work, right? Like your work on display. Kind of like how it indicates like what you've done and like what you've worked for and like what you've earned and gained. Taurus. Kind of wish there wasn't a Mercury retrograde just because like I would love that Gemini energy to just like give you a little swift kick in the ass and get you moving and like stop being so slow. Okay, Taurus. So this came up for Gemini too, right? Because this is also Gemini was a sign where we're talking about like hunkering down, focusing on work, like getting through this like kind of weird tumultuous time with all these transits that are happening astrologically and like getting to the end of the month and to the start of the new year where good things were going to happen. And this is kind of like reminding you to stay lighthearted, right? Like to still have fun. Right? Like even if you feel like you have to put it off a little bit, Taurus, like remember that this is the end game. Like don't lose the heart. Don't lose the sense of humor. Like with what you're doing, don't become so obsessed with it being like a business that like you can't have fun with it. Right? Because as much as you're about money, you're also about like the warm fuzzy feelings. Like Venus is all about art and beauty. Kinship, right? Again, like your networks, your friends. Like, yes, having boundaries, being an individual, but like, I feel like all of this is saying, like, Taurus, like, we have fire action. Like, this is sort of like saying, like, don't lose sight of this while you're hustling. Like, the cards here, they're sort of endorsing your, like, workhorse attitude right now, but I feel like there's one big message of, like, don't lose sight of the fun stuff. Don't lose sight of your friendships and your relationships. Like, also, like what I was saying about going slow, like, don't take forever. Go slow, be patient, but the fire is like lighting a fire under your ass. It's getting you moving, right? And I'm not saying you're not moving, but like, just like pick up the pace a little bit. All right, so we're gonna take a quick look at the cards here, guys. All right, so Taurus, like, the spread is a little bit of a mess, but like, fucking deal with it. Right? Like you're probably a little bit of a mess too, right? Remember we talked about last time about just like the scattered energy in your head and like getting straight and like getting solid. Like this is a little bit of a scattered energy here. But not really. It feels like it's grounding, right? Because we have like this accomplishment with the emperor. We have like the grounding in the empress and you know the 3 of pentacles and the 4 and the 10 of pentacles, right? But like still all this grief, all this concern, all this worry, like look with the 7 of pentacles here too, like just a row of like Debs. Debbie Downer, like, can you stop being so serious just for like a hot second? Like let that Gemini energy of the full moon like pick you up a little bit. Right? Like maybe it's not the best time for like communication and like movement with the retrograde, but you can still enjoy that lighthearted mercurial energy, right? Because this is like still where we're headed, Taurus. Love and family and comfort and like happiness, joy and success. Like there's success coming your way. You better believe it. All right, but like keep the heart. You know, like don't like use this, channel it properly. Channel it in a way that's constructive and like doesn't like keep you up at night. Doesn't keep you like in this dark place. Like there's a little bit of darkness here, Taurus. Like don't get stuck in that. Don't get stuck in cynicism. Don't get stuck in like bad attitudes. Like remember to stay lighthearted and have fun. Well, the Sea Otter isn't like this is a card in this deck for humor, but like sea otters are also traditionally representative of like playful energy, right? Of like lighthearted fun. All right, Taurus, so nice reading here, right? Um, Good amount of balance. I feel like that comes up with the Earth signs a lot, but ultimately, like This is a very Taurus reading with you being in your head like so much and like being so stressed and anxious and like having these doubts, but like just having to have a lighthearted attitude, having to have like a little bit of fun. Like fucking relax. Taurus. All right, so in the description, there's my Instagram. Go ahead and follow me. I have a holiday sale now on my private readings. I just kicked off those private readings, so they're about half off of what they usually would be. $20 for a 30-minute reading and $45 for an hour reading. All right, those are limited supply, so grab them now. And Taurus, like I like talking to you guys. You guys are fun. Like I'm giving you a hard time, but like you're enjoyable. Like you have good energy. You're solid, right? But like lighten up. Like that I'm thinking of that the craft where they do the light as a feather, stiff as a board, right? Like it's okay to be like hard and like tough, but like be light also, right? Let that Gemini lighthearted energy just like elevate you. Lift your spirits, right? All right, Taurus. Well, it's been real. Talk to you in a few weeks. I'm out.